pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, buying equipment for their staff. Within this side, let's also learn see something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Hello, good morning and welcome to your regular bits. This is that particular dosage you never get enough of. My name is Chooks and you are live on SBL, Souk Business Landscape. Wherever you're watching us and catching us from, this is Souk News Television and we are in the center of Lagos, Africa's most populous city, where you should be. Today on SBL, we'll be looking at lag ride. A whole lot is coming in and people are injecting money, and transportation is meant to get to people that are supposed to move from one place to the other. But now there are new things coming into it. We'll talk about it. We're also looking at ECOWAS. What's ECOWAS doing? How are they standing up and saying no to poverty? Is it in production or is it in handout? There's a whole lot to talk about. African Development Bank is also in the mix. A whole lot is happening in the US as it affects Africa. Where are we losing out and where are we gaining on? All that you get to be part in the discussion on SBL today. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and on this table that has decided to be our life, I am not alone. Your Excellencies, join me to welcome back on this beautiful Monday morning, Priye, the fair one. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Chooks, John Rogers. Chooks, it's actually Oye Priye, to call it in full. And it's good to be back. And I don't know why you are putting on glasses. Because I used to put on glasses.
Okay.
So we don't make it a glass affair or spectacles affair.
So if you really want to see far, talk to Priye, Oye Priye. Then also the knight himself is here. The knight in his shining armor.
Well,
good morning.
Good morning, Chooks, John Rogers. Good morning, Onye Priye Krumale. How you doing?
We're good. Congratulations are in order.
Thank you very much.
What?
Just leave it at that.
Let's leave it at congratulations.
The initiated, they know what we're talking about. We've got a very short break, and when we return, we will give you the first story for the day. Don't go anywhere.
Think like that because it's the mind that links to first of all the rebranding.
Said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigerian content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, buying equipment for their staff. Within this side, let's also learn see something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome back. No, you can go to all social media platforms and join the conversation. Let's know you are there, you're watching, and let's also share your thoughts on this program. Just go to Souk Television on all platforms, Souk News TV, and follow us. Remember, one of the most important things, share. Let people around you know, your workplace, your neighbors. Let them know that there is this station and this is where they should be. Now, also join me in welcoming our Zoom guest. He'll be joining us all the way from the UK, Mukhtar Amin. He's a political analyst and he will be part of the program for today. You've seen him regularly. His face is always here and we enjoy his take on our stories. Mukhtar, you're welcome to SBL today.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, okay. Nice seeing your face. Now let's get straight to mobility. Our first story for today, it has to do with lag ride. Now, they've launched 100 electric vehicles to drive sustainable urban mobility in Lagos. Lag ride, the Lagos state-backed ride-hailing service, has introduced 100 electric vehicles into its fleet, marking a major step in advancing sustainable and tech-driven mobility in Lagos. The move aligns with the broader transportation reform spearheaded by the president to modernize urban transit in Nigeria, most populous city, Lagos. Now, speaking at the press conference in Ikeja, Executive Director Adeni Salau highlighted the EV's capacity to travel 333 kilometer on a single charge and fully recharge within 30 minutes using rapid charging stations now installed across Lagos. These vehicles are designed specifically for high efficiency, urban commuting, and transportation. The initiative promises multiple benefits, including reduced emissions, quieter rides, and improved earnings for drivers due to low operational costs. By integrating smart routing and scheduling, LagRide aims to ensure minimal downtime and consistent service, supporting Lagos' transition to cleaner, smarter public transport system. Okay. LagRide, congratulations. 100 EVs, congratulations and welcome. Now, let's break this story down and ask ourselves some basic things. How mass-oriented is it LagRide itself? The night, let's start from you.
Well, LagRide for Lagosians, I think it's a well-known hailing service. I've used it a couple of times, even though sometimes I find it a bit stressful, or will I say hard, to actually get a driver to pick up my request. So I use the other ones. But it's one thing I noticed about LagRide, which I must commend Lagos State for. They're always clean, neat. I've not really seen a dented LagRide. So I think they have this maybe high maintenance policy there, which is quite good. I remember someone was also trying to get a LagRide to use for business. But if you look at this EV now, it's a good initiative. 100. Is it for Lagos alone, or is it going to be for
LagRide, Lagos?
LagRide. So it's a good one. But why is it that Lagos is always the one, doing all this? Why can't we, repeat it in other, states? But we'll come to that later. Now, I'm looking at the profitability. Yes, it's good for drivers. It will reduce cost. Of course, it also reduces cost of maintenance compared to fuel and diesel cars. But the thing now is we have limited charging stations. So how do we fill the gap? Also, we also have power issue in Nigeria. And that's why it's always been said that for any nation to grow, you must stabilize power. So I'm looking at how do we stabilize power to make sure that at each time, because from what we read, under 30 minutes, it's fully charged and it can run 330 kilometers.
3 kilometers.
So it's actually profitable for the driver. I'm also looking at private companies. The private sectors now can actually key into this for logistic companies, even for the media house. I mean, you can have 2 buses, EV buses, and since it's low-cost maintenance, it will not really eat into your profit. It will not really eat into anything. So it's quite good. It's a good one. But I'm also looking again at, we have local car manufacturers. How are they going to integrate into this? Is it a viable business for them? Is it a profitable business? These are things that the Innocents and the rest of them have to now sit down and look at. If they roll it out, what are would they get tax breaks, incentives, and all that? Because these are some of the things that will encourage local, because we need local manufacturers right now to get this thing more than 100. We need thousands of it in Lagos.
Okay. While you are looking at needing thousands of it in Lagos, you are pushing us somewhere. But before we get there, let me get to you. Now, this LagRide is catering to a segment of the society. The man looking for BRT bus cannot afford LagRide.
Exactly.
So which means it's segment, niche specific. Yeah, and they are catering for that. Now, let's look at the number of these vehicles that we are looking at in the first place. He mentioned a bit of where we're going to. To what extent is there a form of Nigerian input in getting these vehicles into this place? Manufacturing. What did we produce in that car? Or we just took money, sent abroad, and got the cars?
I wish the Lagos State Commissioner or Minister of Transportation is here to actually answer this question, because I think this question is directly for him. However, let's look at it in different platforms. I'm very, very certain that we have little as a country, little or no contribution. Little or no contribution. If we have little, it will be quite insignificant. But one other thing we must begin to look at is the opportunities that it provides. 100 fleet of vehicles look at the objective, it's going to reduce environmental pollution. We're going to have less dependence on fossil fuel, and the tendency or the perspective of creating a new specialized form of job creation, because we're going to have technicians in that aspect. And the charging stations, Olumide was saying that they're quite limited. Yes, they're quite limited, but we have them across Lagos. And for some reason, because this is government-owned, government-driven, institutionally backed, they seem to have some form of access where I don't think they will have to beat themselves over where we are going to charge these vehicles for 30 minutes, for 1 hour or so. I don't think they are going to be facing that kind of challenge, because the normal BRTs that you even mentioned, you see them when they want to refuel, they go to filling stations. They don't pay because there's a special form of contract that exists between the filling stations and the government. So they just get the diesel, fill the tanks, and they move. And in sometimes they are not, they don't even go through the queue. So I think that has its own positive and its own negative aspect. But because we're looking at the positive for now, because I'm going to go to the negative too. We're looking at the positive for now, but the advantage that we enjoy is immense. For Lagos State, with the large population that we have, we need to start having a diversified method or ways of transportation. And if we're going to continue to depend on only one source through the source of fossil fuels and petrol, we've been complaining before now about how pollution is taking over the state. And I think this is an indirect way of dealing with that. We must give the government a thumbs up for that. But there are other places where we might give them a thumbs down. And I'm going to mention those places. Can I go there now?
Before you go there, Mukhtar, let's get you into this conversation. Mukhtar, hope you're doing good. Now, let's look at our comparative advantage. To what extent are we really foregoing our comparative advantage for EVs? If we have a refinery that is up and running and we're looking at getting more of these refineries up and running, who is going to consume the product coming from these refineries if we start going EVs this fast and now?
We need diverse energy. So even the biggest economies in the world, US, for example, they are crude producers too, and they have very, very huge EV cars economy. There are so many, almost all the new American cars are now EV. There is a taxi company like LiveRide that is fully EV cars, and they are functional here. So back home too, I see questions about charging. For example, Sterling Bank has an initiative to set up charging stations across the country. They started their pilot program in VI on Adiola Odeku. They have a charging station there. The producers of this car, CIG Motors, they also have different charging stations across Lagos, and they promise to do more. And then I've seen few private companies that their business is EV charging on the island too in Lagos. There are few private companies that are already in the business. The world is moving, like I always say. The world is moving, and nobody is going to wait for Nigeria. There are so many underdeveloped countries that still depend so much on gasoline fuel. So we can have all the refineries in this world and ship and export to them. The demand for gasoline and crude oil is not going to stop in the next 20 years. So we just need to figure out where we want to be and position ourselves. Do we want to be part of the first world, or we want to be lagging behind as a third world country? So the market is always there. And we're talking about what is the contribution of Nigerians to this car. These cars are designed by Nigeria, by CIG Motors, and they're assembled in Nigeria, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't have to compete like every other country. We need to look out for our comparative advantage and compete well there. When it comes to agriculture, only few countries will be able to, compete with us because of the arable land that we have, favorable weather, and the technical know-how. We only need to, do better to industrialize the kind of agriculture that we do. But when it comes to technology, we cannot beat countries like Germany, Japan. But what can we do? Even like America, the biggest company in America is Apple, the company that produces the phone. They only design it in California. It's produced in China and in India, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we can design our own cars, produce it anywhere, and assemble in Nigeria. Nigerians still get to, get jobs through it. So it's a beautiful initiative. And, it's such a beautiful concept. Lagos designed the lag ride and they tie it to a car company. So you design the car, you assemble it, and then you put it. So you don't have to wait for individuals like me and you to buy these cars to use. So you tie it into the fleet of lag ride. And so far, Lagos State government has, I think they're on their 3,000 car now from the same company. So they are keeping a company, they are keeping thousands of jobs for the assembly plants. And, I love the whole value chain. So it's a very, very beautiful concept. 100 EV cars is still is a drop in the ocean, because EV car is supposed to bring efficient and cheaper transportation. So 100 is so little. So if we
while you go 100 is little and look at cheaper transportation, let's go a bit back to the lag ride. Now, for those in the know, there was this particular process where the lag rides that came had to be managed by the drivers. So there was this, you ride, you own, you drive to own. That way you manage the vehicle better and not just a government or an entity, faceless entity having the name. Now with this new vehicles added to the fleet, are we still going to have that work where drivers drive and over time they own the vehicle, or they pay very high purchase? Or are we still seeing something that at the end of the day, these jobs that are being created are sustainable through driving to own and positive too?
I spoke to one of their business development person, and they have a very beautiful right to own program. The program, the average car in CIG Motors for lag ride is 30 million naira, and the program allows drivers to get a down payment of 5 million naira, which is very, very huge, of course, to enter into right to own, and then they spread the payments for over 5 years by drivers paying 15 to 25,000 daily. So they can spread the payment to 3 or 5 years to own the fleet. So, but the down payment to be able to do that is 5 million naira. So I don't know if government, local government, other branches of government can come in to give funding to some of these drivers, because Nigeria of today is difficult to come about 5 million naira. And I look at the opportunities for drivers, for Nigerians, is a very, very, very good opportunity. We all know that average drop on all of these apps is between 6,000 to 12,000 naira. So drivers paying 25,000, 15,000, 20,000 daily is easy fit, but the down payment is a stretch, but is a good development. I hope there will be partners that will come in to assist in the funding, but is a very beautiful model. I've looked at the entire value chain. Is very, very, very beautiful. I only hope other states, especially Abuja, Port Harcourt, and some of these major cities, Ogun State, Oyo, can key into this kind of program. Is very beautiful. It's very beautiful.
Okay, now while we're looking at how beautiful it is from your end of the spectrum, let's also look at mass transportation. Like we said earlier on, this caters for a segment, not just the down part of the segment, but the higher end of the segment. Let's look at the BRT. Lagos State also tried introducing electric buses. We still see some of them ply the roads, but they didn't come as much as we thought they were going to come in. When and how should we start seeing that improvement come into Lagos State? Because if we have more buses, we have lesser cars on the road, we have more people picked up. Can we start seeing or start asking the government to, hey, give us more BRT buses? Better still, electric BRT buses.
Well, it's a good one. I also thought about it that 100 lag ride is significantly few. I mean, why can't we incorporate it into the bus route transit to make it more accessible? But then again, if you look at the BRT, it does not get to the nooks and crannies of cities, Lagos basically. And so people still, take the yellow buses, the small ones they call Korope and the Keke Napep. So why? Because it gets to the nooks and crannies. It's only if you are taking a straight, maybe from the island to Ikorodu, with bus stops along the road, but it does not really get to the nooks and crannies. So it's basically for people who believe that it's quite nearer to their destination. They take the BRT. There was a time also I used to buy the ticket before they changed into the carrier and all that. I used to have the ticket for a month, well calculated for the whole month. So I think, yes, if they bring in that also, it's a good one. But until the private sector starts to accept this EV, you will not really see changes like that. If you say lag ride, if you say the BRT, yes, I think that will be probably 30 to 40% change. But until the yellow buses, until private sectors, until the Koropes, the Keke Napep, I don't know how they can develop something like that Keke Napep that will be electrically driven. Fantastic. That is when we can now start to see the cost of transportation actually reduce. Because if it's just for BRTs and lag rides, like you said, I believe it's almost the elite or upper middle class that can actually afford the lag ride. Let's face it. Because if you do your calculations well compared to the yellow bus, you would want to take the yellow bus instead of the lag ride and all that. So until the private sector starts to really key into it, then also how aware are the people in Lagos of these EV vehicles? That's one of the things we need to. Then again, why is it that it's not just only Lagos? Because Lagos is just 1 out of 36 states, which is less than 1% of the whole country. So why can't, until we start to see it, manifest, and Lagos is not the only commercial state. We have other commercial states. What is happening? Why are the governors not keying into this? Is it that they are in their slumber, or what is really happening?
Trying to rev Oipre up?
No, I'm just wondering that we have other governors. They travel out, they go to other countries for seminars, they do all these things. What is really happening? Are they not friends with Governor Sanwo-Olu?
Okay. Now, before we talk about whether they are friends with Sanwo-Olu or not, let's look at after services, maintenance of these cars that are coming in. Are we seeing new segment of job creation or seeing opportunities where Nigerians can also get in, apart from being those assembling, also technical know-how on fixing and repairing these cars and see more jobs being created?
When we talk about job creation, it's going to be in phases. Earlier on, when I mentioned that we have, as a state, as a country, little or insignificant form of contribution, I'm talking about manufacturing. Fine, if we designed it and we are giving it to assembling plants for it to be assembled, some of the most vital components of that vehicle, we didn't produce them here. And if things like these are happening, of course, when we look at it within the lens of job creation. Job creation can come when we start having the transfer of technology to the locals. And that is going to expand the market within, from the establishment of the stations, from maintenance, and other parts that we need to contribute to make it a whole. In that part, we need to start looking at it very well, because if not, we will just be waiting. Recently, the government had established, what's it called? Renewable energy plant in Abuja where we need to start producing those parts of renewable energy, most especially the solar energy panels. That is a combination between the government and the private sector, most especially with the multinational company. So we're making some form of progress in that. But all is going through renewable energy. And it's good because we are diversifying our sources. And it has its own advantage and disadvantage. Job creation. Now let's move away from that. On the other part, I think Lagos is enjoying, who is going to compete with the government in transportation? The monopoly is just too much. Where are you bringing private individuals to come invest? 1. 2, you establish, even the BRT, you establish a private and exclusive route for the BRT. Then, the admirals that disturb the red and yellow or the black and yellow vehicles and every other private investors as a transporter does not disturb the BRT to collect money from the BRT operators. Because they say, oh, this is government, leave them alone. The lag ride is going to be enjoying that same benefit as well. So you're suffocating private investment. And you are living large. Why didn't you make the policy to apply to both the private investor, that man that can spend the 5 million naira without even making down payment for the lag ride, can buy himself a Korokwe vehicle or a tricycle to use? He's going to pay those boys at the bus stop.
Definitely.
You are strangulating them. And these are private investors. So don't enjoy the monopoly alone. The monopoly, yes, is good, but make it a round playing field. The government is just there, and it's doing good, yes, but it's not enough.
Are you saying government should get agberos? Now, for those that are wondering, agberos are, in quote, tiles on the road.
Yeah, who are collecting, because the government will say, oh, when they collect the money, that we know they remit to the local government, and there's a way the money gets back to the government in way of tax. Okay, so how does Lagrad pay its own tax? Well, maybe how do they pay their own tax? Or maybe they don't do that because they are owned by the government. I'm just asking a rhetorical question. And these are things that need to be addressed. So when you look at that vehicle, the people living, you mentioned the Kurudu and all other nooks and crannies. There are places where the government have not taken the BRT terminals to establishment to. And there are rumors that, look, sometimes there is a protest and a clamor from some of the people who operate those bus stations or public bus stations, preventing the government from establishing the BRT terminals there, because if they do, they would have taken food away from the mouth of those boys.
They are bearers.
Yes, they would have taken food away from the mouth of those boys. So there's a protest and there's a clandestine bickering that, look, please don't bring it here. And you begin to wonder, you go to Yanoworo.
Yes.
It's a huge bus stop.
Yes.
You're coming from the island, that place is a center. You're moving away from the mainland on that part from Ikorodu and Ibafu. You are coming to the island. It's like a convergence center.
There's no BRT bus stop there?
There is a BRT terminal, but there's no BRT bus there.
They don't go there?
They don't go there. They don't load there. And you begin to ask your question, why? Why? You're going to Mile 2, you're going to Badagry area, those places, the Festac area. Okay, fine. You see some BRT, but okay, maybe we should give the government the benefit of doubt. Lagos is a big place where they're still trying to cover those places.
For how many years?
No. We can give it to them, because if you make comparisons with them to other chief executives from other states, you just give them kudos. But you know what? They need to cover up those places, and these lapses that I'm talking about, the government needs to start looking at it to make it. So if you can say, okay, this is a private route for the government-owned transportation vehicles to ply, then if others apply it, they get caught and
definitely
pay through their nose.
Definitely.
So that immunity should be extended to the private sector.
Oh, it should be, maybe it should be extended in a specific way. Sorry, Mr. Chooks. It should be extended in a specific way. If your vehicle meets a certain standard, maybe that itself will be discriminatory. So let me just check it.
Now, if you're driving a long bus that looks like a BRT, you can go register and apply the BRT lane. If you're driving a smaller bus, use the normal lane like every other person. If you're driving lag ride, congratulations, get to business and cater for the sector you are catering for. Everybody should learn. If Lagos is doing something that we can't replicate in other states, please, let's do same. Now let's go to our second story for today, and it has to do with climate, money, and movement. Bank of Industry has been accredited as Nigeria's national climate project implementer. Now, the Bank of Industry, BOI, has been officially accredited by the Adaptation Fund as Nigeria's national implementing entity, NIE, for climate-related development initiatives. The 5-year accreditation enables BOI to access, manage, and deploy climate adaptation funding to communities impacted by environmental challenges. The Adaptation Fund Board approved the designation based on a recommendation from its accreditation panel, signaling confidence in BOI's capacity to handle climate finance at the national level. The certification empowers BOI to support projects that build resilience to climate change across vulnerable Nigerian communities, describing the approval as a significant achievement. BOI Managing Director Olashukbo Olusi said the milestone positions Nigeria to better address climate adaptation needs while expanding access to global climate finance for sustainable development. Okay, first, congratulations to BOI. But now let's start asking, why BOI?
Bank of Industry.
Yes, why BOI?
Well, it's a good one. Before we start to ask why BOI, let's still say, okay, we've gotten a channel where we can get funds that has to relate to climate adaptation, greener energy, which is quite related to what we were discussing before. So it's good. But I'm looking at the bureaucracy now.
Why BOI?
Why BOI? Maybe you should ask the government. I have no answers for that. But I guess they did some kind of homework. I wouldn't say backed up. They did some kind of homework to get this accreditation. And, thumbs up to them, first of all.
Okay. Priye, why BOI?
Well, it's the Bank of Industry. Climate-related, if you look at it very well, climate-related projects, government is bailing the cat.
Before we get to who is bailing the cat, why BOI?
Why BOI? It's the Bank of India. It's an arm of the government. It's economically and financially and otherwise. It's an arm of the government who can manage the funds.
NEMA doesn't have a bank. Okay, now let's ask a question again. Now, how close is Bank of Industry to communities that are having issues? Communities that are currently suffering from climate-related issues. How close is Bank of Industry to them?
Who would you have preferred?
There is Bank of Agriculture.
It's Bank of Agriculture.
Yes.
Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry. And
there's a mortgage bank.
Issues that refer to our climate change.
There's a mortgage bank.
Is it climate change related?
Yes.
There's nothing different if it is. What will make it different or more effective if it is run by the Bank of Agriculture or the mortgage bank or the Bank of Industry? All of these that we are talking about, these are related to, these are government institutions.
Okay, now, but let's look at BOI from this other aspect. Now, BOI is being saddled with growing the economy. Growing SMEs, growing bigger companies, funding industry, manufacturing from the start and monitoring them to profitability.
Is the Bank of Agriculture not doing
No, hold on. Bank of Agriculture is specific. Farmer, process, land, value chain on that particular. So who is closer to the people that suffer from this? That's just what I'm asking. Is it not the Bank of Agriculture that's closer to them? One way or the other, the Bank of Industry must have gone ahead, just like you said, to apply for this. But let's look at, there's an Ilaje community that is not too far from us here. Half of the community has been overrun by the ocean. Who is closer to them there? is the Bank of Industry, the local government, and because they have extension workers there. There is the guys in the north that the desertification is almost sending them away. Who's closer to them? The cattle herders that are moving up and down. One of the major issues is also drought. So who is? I'm just asking those open questions. Mukhtar, let's come to you now because we need to hear your take on this. We are glad. Okay, there's a channel for this. Before we start asking specific questions on who is funding, why BOI?
BOI has the fund and they have the right to adopt any policy and where they want to invest their money into. And we all understand that local government is the closest to the people. But the local government is already overwhelmed with the immediate need of the people. Road network, the little they can do to control flood, which is gutter channels, water channels, portable water supply, primary health care, and all of this. They are already overwhelmed. They are already overstretched. So I don't think the local government has the fund to invest in climate change policies. But if they can access funds from BOI or on other international bodies, World Bank and all of that, and implement into climate change, that would be beautiful. So BOI stepping in, I love it. I love it if BOI can, because this is something that we need to look into. Even though a majority of our people, we argue that we have not eaten, you're talking about climate change. Even America, as big as it is, Donald Trump is saying that they will continue to drill crude oil because they need the money. So they don't care about, he does not believe in climate change. The administration before him, the Biden administration, were key into, even from Obama, they believe in climate change and they were key into the global climate change policy, into how everybody can go into green energy and renewable energy. So we in Africa, it's so sad that we didn't benefit from all the industrialization that polluted the planet. And we've not even developed till now. We are not fully industrialized. And we have to, we are bearing the bumps of climate change. The water we see every other day, flash flood, is as a result of climate change. Now in September, almost October, rain is still falling. It's climate change. Our ocean currents are filled up. It's climate change. So we need to, and people are already dying from climate change if we have to say the way it is. So many villages and communities have been overrun by water, by flood, and properties submerged. So we need to stop saying we are hungry. We need food. We need to start taking climate change seriously, because climate change is already taking lives. So, and if BOI has some money that they can invest into this, is very, very beautiful, because climate change is now life-threatening as much as hunger is. So we have to take it as serious as we take food sufficient and hunger.
Okay, Mukhtar, now for those that are still there, now the adaptation fund has a responsibility to provide funding to developing nations. Now, this is where we are also trying to come in. If they are meant to fund a lot of the initiatives, and now Bank of Industry has a lot of funds from the federal government and other contributory agencies to fund industrialization and businesses in the country, are we seeing a case whereby the only funds that are going to go into every climate initiative is going to come from the adaptation funding? Or we're also asking the Bank of Industry to also drop some of their own funds?
Yeah, I mean, the adaptation policy is a very, very huge investment. It's very, very huge investment. It means all the industries that currently run on gasoline and emits and does emission that pollutes the planet, they have to go fully green. And even the biggest of the big companies that we have, they will need support to do this integration. So it's a very, very huge investment. So BOI, we have to pick the industries that they want to support or the class of industries that they want to support. Are they going to be supporting the SMEs or the new industries that are coming into the economy, or they are going to be supporting the bigger ones, the big ones in our stock exchange? So they have to pick, and I don't think they can fully fund it alone. I feel like they will just pick the people that they want to support, and then World Bank has some funding for climate change too. So World Bank too, we have to pick, okay, do we want to help the people that emit that pollute the planet the most, to now say, okay, you are the people that are polluting the most, take this money and go green? Or you want to say, okay, the next generation of industries that are coming into the economy, take money, don't go gasoline, don't pollute the planet. But is a huge investment, and is something that is going to take maybe about 20 to 30 years to fully implement, if we are ever going to get there. Because even the first countries of the world, America, for example, they have not shown that they are, even though they are adapting so many green policies, but they are still, polluting the planet. So, and we are just, I don't even know the percentage of our economy on the global scale, and our industrialization, we barely produce anything. So it's a good time for us to start early, and maybe we might be able to have an head start against other countries of the world in this aspect. If we have missed the industrialization in the last century, maybe in this green revolution, if we begin to do this early enough and we are true to what we are doing, the money does not get missing, the money is not mismanaged, we might have a head start in the global conversation of green energy.
Okay, now, while you are looking at us having a head start in that conversation, the night, let's come to you. Now we get to see, just like he said, and he's up there, Germany is still burning coal. China is still burning coal. The US is still drilling like never before. Now, why is Africa the one that everybody is pushing to go green as fast as possible, whereas we emit the least and suffer the most? And they are not funding that particular transition the way they are talking the narrative.
Well, it's quite interesting. I mean, excuse me. We're still talking about CNG. We've not even gotten to CNG yet, and we're saying we want to go green. So what's going to happen to the CNG initiative? Are we going to just, leave that alone and say we're trying to go green? Or if we're actually going to go green, are we really serious about it? And how can we actually go into green energy? If you go on the roads right now, those trucks, those large trucks, trailers, what they emit, it's hazardous. But then again, so if we say, okay, a particular sector, a particular ride-hailing service going, getting EVs and all that, what about the private sector? That's why I always come down to the private sector, because for us to go green, we have to really go green. Thank God, I remember during the Fashola administration where they planted trees, they made sure trees were everywhere. That was a good initiative, but what's happening now? So for us to go green, I think it's something we should not really take to heart, because we are not really ready yet, because it has to do with implementation. That's the number one thing. If we are not able to implement it, if the government is really serious about it, then how aware, when you say you want to go green energy, well, I don't like to say the local man, but the man on the street, if you ask him now that what does green energy mean, do you think he has a grasp of what it means? The man driving the car, kabu, what we call kabu, a car that is almost close to wrecking, what does he understand by green energy? He just wants to get from point A to B and probably make some money. So if you say, oh, this car is not good, it's emitting whatever it's emitting, and you need to take care of it, he would ask you, how do you expect him to feed? How do you expect him to live? So for us to go into greener energy, we first also, it has to start from the mind, basically. But I think we're not even ready there. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, because what will now happen to all the drillers, people drilling for oil and the rest of them? I mean, look at what it's coming out from these communities, the Niger Delta and the rest of them. Gas flaring, how do you take care of that? It's a whole lot.
While we look for how to take care of that, Oyin Priye, let's ask ourselves this this. Major questions. Is Adaptation Fund going to fully fund every initiative that they are partnering with Bank of Industry to give out funds for?
Well, it's had to be projects that are related to climate change.
Will they fund it fully?
They have criteria and conditions that must be met for even the climate change-driven projects before they'll be able to fund or give out some form of grants or loans to that respect. And it is good because it's a way of proving to Nigeria and to prospective investors that, look, there's institutional backing and we're expanding the capacity of the institution to be able to handle projects like this. And they can do that. Fully funding, no, of course. That is why you mentioned some of the institutions. The Bank of Industry is handling projects that are related to climate change as well, even in agriculture. We're talking about climate-driven agricultural methods. The Bank of Agriculture will be also handling some form of those projects. So it's a collaborative effort coming from institutions that will now, at the end of the year, have the capacity to do that. And if we say we are not ready, we're not ready. We are never going to start. And it's a good thing that we can see actions coming from the government to provide some form of supplemental efforts to what's already existent on ground. Because if we keep back our hands and say we're never going to be prepared, we're not going to start. And the greenery that we're going towards, there's a specific time for transition to complete green, but I don't think that time is ever going to come. I'm saying that time is never going to come because we've not actually really get into industrialization through the raw materials and through the power, the comparative advantage that we currently enjoy as a nation, which we have in abundance, in gas and in crude. And the world, the West, the first world, they can't really dictate to Africa. Africa must come to that place, Nigeria in this must come to that place and say, yes. The former President Muhammadu Buhari said by the year 2060 that we will be going 50% green. We would have done like 50, we would have cut down our gas emission, our carbon emission by 50%. If we can attain that and have a goal that we are also going to get to a specific point in our drive for industrialization using what we currently have as a comparative advantage, yes. But if not, we're just going to give them something to chew, just the way India, China, the United States told the world and the United Nations that, hey, we're going to be going green. We've cut down XYZ percentage in carbon emissions. We are going green. But yet Donald Trump is saying, drill, baby, drill. And we are just going to give them the same word, continue drilling, and, take advantage of what we are getting and make our own little effort. Because we are not going to be deceptive, but we are going to make our own little effort. And they must be visible in the eyes of the multilateral agencies, the multilateral organizations, that we are equally making efforts on our own, and the monies and the funds that is coming from the Brooklyn institutions and from other multilateral companies that, look, we are making use of this fund for the purpose for which you have given it to us, either by way of grant or by way of loan. However, we're not going to neglect what we have, our crude. So we must begin to do that. And the other way for us to promote it is what we have done, what we are doing now, for them to come and establish some of their plants here, some of their factories here. They need to come and build it and manufacture here. And that's one of the best ways that our global partners, the United States and the multilateral organizations, can build this collaboration by coming to establish their companies here, their plants, their factories here, so that we can have a perfect transition of this technology, use it for the good of the world, because we are trying to save the planet.
Okay, while you are trying to save the planet, let's save some breath and go on a very short break. Remember, go to all those social media platforms and follow us at Souk TV, Souk News TV, and we will join you in our conversation. Don't go anywhere. SBL will be right back.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that links to first of all the rebranding.
Said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigerian content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
You think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations start looking at getting their staff involved in this market and buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen promises, see something. This is business landscape.
Welcome back. This is still SBL, so business landscape, and we are here live. Now let's go straight to our second segment, and the story begins. Now, poverty alleviation. ECOWAS is here, and ECOWAS is in the news. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has launched a social protection framework and operational plan for 2024-2028 to strengthen social safety net and reduce poverty across its 15 member states. The initiative was approved by the ECOWAS Council of Ministers and is aligned with Sustainable Development Goal 1, no poverty. The framework serves as a practical roadmap for member states to develop and implement inclusive and effective social protection programs. It aims to address critical challenges such as inadequate financing, limited coverage, and poor coordination that has historically hampered social protection efforts in the region. Okay, now let's stop here because we are going to be very fast from now going forward.
Yes.
We have seen this particular style, let me call it the style, where the World Bank or IMF come up with an initiative and give African governments loans as handouts. Now, these particular loans will now wake up and governments from different African countries tell us, okay, they are giving initiatives. Nigeria gave 25,000 naira just some weeks ago, and they said 15 million people are expected to receive that. Same thing is happening across Africa. In the name of loans from, as PRE will call them, multilateral organizations, which they are. Should Africa be looking at social net protection, or should Africa be looking at productive net projections?
It reminds me of that saying that it's if you give someone fish, he would always come back for more. But if you train him how to fish, he will be independent for himself. Until we learn that fact, that we need to stop this handout. We need to stop. If you give 10 people 10,000 naira, how long will they sustain? But if you provide a viable economy where they themselves can thrive, where they have purchasing power, I think that's one of the major things this government needs to look at, how to increase the purchasing power of an average man. Then he will be able to be independent of himself. But, you know, because of maybe politics, selfish reasons, we see loans, we see grants as something good. We don't see it as something that is still going to, it's not going to take us out of where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be among world powers. But until, and these people know, they see us as, these people, they have a whole lot of things that can actually make them become independent, make them the giants of Africa. But these loans, we seem to always want something that is easy, but it's not actually easy, because whether you like it or not, these loans, you have to pay them back. You have to, whatever grant or loans you are signing, there's always an underline. Like they say, the devil is in the detail. There's always something in that contract that we might not be privy to. So until we see Africa as, that's why I like, even though I don't like the method at which they took power, but it seems as if they are doing far better than every other country. But of course, the way they took power was through a coup and all that. I do not support that. But until we start to see ourselves, that we can actually get ourselves from point A to B, that we are the ones that are going to get ourselves out of poverty, we will always continue to take these grants. And it seems very juicy. It seems sweet to, you know, it's easy to borrow money. It is paying back that is harder. So until we start to see it that way, that until you make it, you make the economy so viable that one person can actually, you do not need to, how will I put it? Until entrepreneurs, SMEs, can actually stand on their own, we will not get there.
Okay. Now, looking at getting there, let's get back to you. Why do we still have ECOWAS focusing on poor? Giving a poor person a job and giving a poor person money, which should we prioritize?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah.
How?
Yes, both, because first of all, these are social protective nets. The bigger clients, the United States of America during the COVID-19 period gave out a lot of social, what ECOWAS is currently doing now. They provided it for their citizens.
It's not a continuum. It's not a continuum.
Yes,
it was specific.
Even now that we don't have, they have social security for
Good.
people who are not directly engaged in government, in work.
Good.
So why can't we do
For a
the same?
period.
Why can't we do the same for us?
Now,
Why?
hold on.
Okay.
The question we should now start asking ourselves, how productive is the economy in the first place? Why are we making it a dependable kind of thing?
No, it's not. This is an intervention that it's not going to be there forever. Today, ECOWAS can be doing one. Tomorrow, we might have another initiative that can also be government-driven, or it can be private individual-driven. It could be a multilateral agency, a multilateral organization.
Have you considered where these monies are coming from?
Okay, wherever it is coming from, it's going to boost the purchasing power of the common man at the ebb of society.
Which common man?
Which common man? Who are they making it for? They're making it for the common man, not for you.
Then when the money is spent, what does it do? He waits for the next one.
Okay, what are they spending the money for? Does it increase the purchasing power of the man at the ebb of society? Yes, it does. So does it enable them economic-wise? Yes, it does. Does it help them? Okay, fine. Does it now provide some form of small private the production or the productivity level of small private businesses that cater to the people at that strata of society? Of course it does.
You are giving handouts to people, not to businesses.
Okay, do they need help?
The businesses or the people?
The people, do they need help? We've had instances.
What type of help should we be looking at offering people?
But we have also,
should we be looking at a handout, monetary handout, or skill acquisition?
But we've also had other situations where we've seen the ECOWAS and both private and government initiative driven, where they've given handouts, where they've given support, where they've given some form of financial enablement, even in the form of grants, to businesses at the ebb of society. So now if they are doing it both ways, I think they are doing the right thing.
If they are doing it both ways. But what
to businesses and to both individuals.
Will you take a loan to go and do a party?
That's irrational.
But people do it.
Oh, that is what
the people that do it, I said that's irrational. The people that do it, do they get back the money? Because we all know when we start talking about the events or party industry in Nigeria, you're not just going to take your money to do a wedding, to do a birthday. When you borrow that money, it means that you have a source where you can pay back that money, or you know that the people coming to that party are going to spray you some form of money, for which you're going to get more than what you use to borrow to do the party.
That means you are looking at business.
No, I am not promoting that, but that's a wise investment.
Okay.
Oh, of course, it is. You're going to get back the money.
We need to run down on this now. For this particular social intervention, giving an example for the one that happened in Nigeria just weeks ago, that money came from one of the Bretton Woods institutions.
Yes.
And it's a loan. And that particular loan was not given to businesses or given to build an industry or to build one particular facility or the other where people can go, or a hub where people can go and learn trade. It was given out 25,000 naira to individuals, one person, 25,000 naira for 3 months. That's 75,000 naira.
Yes.
How is government going to pay back? Because at the end of the day, government is still going to pay back this money. This is not the first time, it's not the second time.
Why
and it's
would
happening
government do it?
across Africa.
Why would the government do it?
Hold on. Because somebody somewhere told you to do it.
No.
Yes.
No. No, if we look at it just from that perspective, we can be very, very, we'll be very, very insensitive.
Insensitive
to the core basic functions of every government.
Which is?
That is saddled with the responsibility of providing for the peace, security of every nation, and also to provide for the economic welfare, the well-being of the individual.
Now we are making a mistake. It is not government's responsibility to put food on your table.
No. We're not talking about government. See, the countries that we're talking about, that we want our country or countries in Africa to be like, do these things.
Now,
hold on.
So
we cannot, if they do this,
are we waiting? Hold on. There are two different things.
Then if we not do the same, adopt the same measure, you say we are doing bad because we are not at the peak of where we should be, or we are not like the United States.
Are they borrowing to do what they are doing?
To do that. Now, whether they are borrowing
to do what they are doing,
whether they are borrowing it or not, is not the singular. We cannot depend on that unilateral perspective to say because they are not borrowing to do it because they have everything. No, they borrow.
Even
some
if
of
they
them
are
borrowing, some of them are
owing
more than African. Do they have economic strain in one way or the other?
No.
Yes, they do have economic strain.
Yes.
If it's not coming from that perspective, does not mean they are not experiencing economic strain. We have to do it too. However, we have to do it in a way we can manage it very, very well to make sure it gets to the very, very people that we are targeting. That's where we should be.
That's a different talk altogether.
If I may ask now, this 75,000 has been distributed
for 3 months.
For 3 months, how has it gotten people out of the state of poverty?
Of course, it's a temporary intervention by the government. It's a temporary intervention. The government is not trying to say, oh, because it's a government initiative, I want to make sure I take care of the lives of the people by 75,000.
He asked the question, how has it gotten people out of poverty?
So it does not have to get them out of poverty,
but
it provides some form of succor. It provides some form of help. These are people who earn even less than what we currently provide as the minimum wage for people at the head of society. Some states have not been able to pay that. And if the government saying, okay, because we're trying to provide some form of succor, it's the government's responsibility that at least some basic needs of the people at the head of society is met. If some of those needs need to be met and the government see it, that I need to play a position where I need to make 25,000 naira within this frame of time to these people for 3 months, I think the government is doing a very good job.
Okay, that brings me back to where I'm going, the purchasing power. So what is the purchasing power of 25,000 naira?
For that period,
in a month,
Olumide,
it's less than minimum wage.
So of course, for a month. It does not mean these people are not earning anything.
Okay.
What it simply means is that the purchasing power of these people are so depleted, and we need to augment it. We need to bring it up at least for the specific period of time.
Let's do this.
So that they can buy some staples, so that they can get some
with 25,000.
Yes, it will add to what they already have on hand.
Okay.
To meet some of the needs, even for the children at home. Please, I know you can purchase, you can drive into the fuel station and buy fuel for 25,000 naira. Not everybody can do that.
Mukhtar, let's get to hear your take on this. It's always easy to compare when we do this here. I will now look at the social intervention that happened outside this country. What's your take on this, please? We have just one more story, so we have to get there. Go ahead.
Okay, so very quickly, the social intervention that happens in the advanced country, I dare say it doesn't get to everybody, and it only gets to people that are in the system. And what does it mean by people in the system? It means people that are already captured and regularly pay tax. So, for example, during the COVID period, when government was sending checks to people, there's no way they could send checks to everybody in America. They're only sending checks to people that are in the system that are paying tax. So they are giving them some, kickback from the tax they've paid to, because they are not earning money. Same thing when you file for unemployment and they send you check pending the time that you get a job. It's like a grant. It's like a soft loan. They get it back one way or the other. They are keeping you afloat because you are in the system, and they know that when you get a job, they will definitely know, because you can't get a job without your social security number. And so they will definitely know, and you will pay tax back. So, but the problem that we have in Nigeria is the money is not even getting to the most vulnerable, because they are not captured. They are not in the system. So there's no way we know to know the poor people. There's no government official in this country that can give us the register of the most vulnerable people in Nigeria. So let's focus on what is achievable. In as much as, okay, people need money, but I feel like people need jobs more than they need this 25,000, 15,000. It goes nowhere. So again, I keep saying it, in a country where 70% are uneducated, let's invest heavily in agriculture. We should start seeing states that have cargo airports and cargo planes that can ship out food, and have processing companies where, if, for example, if I harvest my 2 tons of corn or cassava, I can take it there and they pay me, and the states will process and export. The demand for food is not just in Nigeria, it's worldwide. So the reason why people don't want to do agriculture in this country is because we think it's a poverty-ridden sector. Show people the money. The other day, a station in Nigeria was doing documentary in Kaduna about agriculture. People are making 3 billion, 4 billion from one crop, from ordinary beans, from rice. So we need to show our people the money. I'm sure if our people know they can make millions from agriculture, they don't want 25,000 naira that barely feed them for a week. They don't want 15,000 naira that barely feed them for a week. Imagine a family of 4, a family of 5. What can they do with that money? Just invest in something that can change the life of our people, that can change the destiny of these countries. The tax office, Zacchaeus Adedeji, explains how only 20% of our taxable people is captured. So the same people that are not paying tax, that are not contributing to the government purse, wants social kickback. They want let's be real. In the foreign countries, the people that are saddled with the responsibility of this daily or weekly or regular social reaching out to people are churches and mosques. They are not governments. Here you see churches, they do soup day every Tuesday. They do soup day is when they give people that cannot cook, the homeless people. They give them warm food that is cooked. Then maybe Thursday or Friday, they give people that have homes that can cook. They give them staple food, potatoes, and to go and cook. So it's the churches. So here, everything is government. What are these non-governmental organizations? What are they doing with this so much money? The churches, they are not even being taxed. So imagine they even take the money they are supposed to pay to government as tax from the money they are making to reach out to people. Maybe some of them are reaching out, but it's not enough. I don't see any church having free schools or free universities. What I see is churches and mosques. NASFAT has an Islamic university too, and students are paying millions. And these are organizations that are making money that are not taxed. So we need to channel some of this energy, and we all belong to all of these organizations. In Nigeria, is a very religious country. It's either you belong to Nasrat Porif as a Muslim, or you belong to some of these popular churches, Redeem, Winners. And it's time to wake up and ask, what are these money being used for? Because in this advanced country, this is what churches are doing with their money. And those are the people that introduce us to religion. So we cannot just cherry pick what we want to pick from the advanced country. We'll say, oh, they reach out to people for social, give them money. But we don't say those people are captured in their system. These are people that pay taxes. So in Nigeria now, we can see the internet is going agog because they want to increase the tax nets. They want more people to come into the tax net. Everybody is angry. Why are we angry? The problem we have in Nigeria is revenue problem.
Thank you very much, Mukhtar. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so we have to put the name of the tax that we're referring to. If we say religious bodies, churches, and mosques,
they are exempt.
Pay tax.
They don't.
If they don't pay tax, what sort of tax are they being exempted from?
All of it.
We know of churches.
Are they not registered?
Just a moment. We know of churches who employ, in whose employment you have more than 200 staff.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
The staff will be paid.
No, fine. The staff they pay tax, right? If they do that, what sort of tax are we saying the churches and mosques does not pay? Those staff, I'm coming. Those staff, they are being paid.
Churches don't pay income tax.
Great. Then, because they are not supposed to be seen as an organization that is involved in profit.
Can you bring us back to this place now?
That is where I'm going.
Okay.
So, if we are talking, I think the problem is not even in revenue generation. We're talking about the core of our conversation. And I said it earlier on, and you said, no, that is a different aspect of the conversation. No, it is an intricate part of the conversation.
Which one exactly?
That money getting to the people. He talked about these persons who, in those other claims that they pay, and the government has a way of collecting that money back because they are captured in the system. So I said, like, this money, this 75,000 naira for 3 months that the government gave to Nigerians at that specific, within 3 months, just to help them because of the difficulty or to cushion the effect, is because if they are getting that money, who are these people? Do we have a system? Do we have a database?
Did you get that?
Because I said that earlier on. Did you get the money? He said no. That's a conversation. I don't fall into that category of people.
Okay.
So I'm also, if I'm to get that money, it will be unfair because there are people down there
the
who
person
need that money.
What is the criteria for those that got the money?
Then we need to say, okay, what the government needs to do is to make sure that it has a very, very transparent system, or it needs to develop a system and a database where it captures these people, and we don't just only want to see these names. And because we watch transparency, we should bring in civil society organizations, civil rights organizations who can partner with the government to reference to see these people and also have the same database and to verify the fact that government actually paid this money
at the end of 3 months.
Who I really need of that money, not some politicians giving it to party members because they are party members and they can influence some of the decision or the way the money is being distributed.
Can you calm down? At the end, calm down.
It is not about revenue generation.
Calm down. At the end of 3 months, what happens? The person still doesn't have a job.
So
the person is still poor.
No,
what happens?
No. Those people is not say that they do not ever have jobs. There are people who have jobs, but they still fall into the same category.
This category?
Yes. They are the poorest.
It's poverty elevation.
There are people who earn 20,000 naira monthly.
Okay.
Yes. They don't work for the government. They earn 20,000 naira monthly. There are people who earn 30,000 naira monthly. There are people who earn less than 30,000 naira monthly.
Okay.
Yes. These people equally fall into that category.
Okay.
At any point in time,
so
if we
call,
qualified
for the 25,000 naira
at any point in time,
Mm-hmm.
at any point in time, if you want to get a record of social interventions outside this country, you will get that record.
Okay, fine.
If we ask for the same thing
what we should be
here,
talking about.
can we get that record?
And because the government is saddled with that responsibility from the local government level.
Hold on. Now, these are things we shouldn't get too passionate about them. We should not borrow to hand out. It is wrong on every side of it. We are not that rich. We are not that productive. We are borrowing money from World Bank to go and do handout because they say take, and it's part of their own initiative. We should not do that.
This is not
something
a
that is
regular
wrong,
occurrence.
It's not the first time. It's not the second time.
Occurrence when the government is just going to go to the World Bank or a multilateral organization to borrow money because it wants to give over to Nigerians who are the head of society. These are the things that happen once in a while.
Hold on,
and we've also seen
let's
that in the government
let's stop using the excuse of poverty.
see,
and impoverish
if
the
you do
nation
not
more.
take care of your people in the poor
Hello.
people in your society, armed robbery is going to skyrocket. If you do not take care of
25,000 naira is not going to take care of
goes
poor
a long
people
way.
in your society.
You spend 25,000 naira in a day or two does not mean someone out there can afford it in a week.
It's not about me.
So if it's not about you, then we must defend to the people at the end of society.
The government can get, the government can get monies off another means. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, no. But don't borrow money from World Bank.
But Chooks, if I may say something, I thought that they said the 1 trillion that will be saved from fuel subsidy removal would trickle back.
So while the government is waiting for them, while the government is doing business to save 1 trillion naira to bring it so that it can disburse the money in a way that it will get to people at the head of society, while the government is waiting for that, there is an issue that requires the responsibility of the government to respond to the purchasing power at the head of society.
That's what I'm saying.
So if the government goes up borrowing I'm coming. If it goes up borrowing to rectify that, having it in record that within X, Y, Z period of time, I'm going to get back some form of returns from my investment in crude so I can pay back this loan. The government is being strategic about it.
No.
I know there are going to come instances where the profit, or what's the word now, that the government is going to pay on top of that loan is going to mount. But yes, it's the same thing that has been happening where we were spending about 90% of our IGR on servicing loans. The same government, we have another government who came in place and has beaten down to about between 50-60% of our IGR. So are we making progress? Yes. Are we there yet? No.
Let's look at it this way also. We are saying that, okay, the money, the 1 trillion that should have been spent on the fuel subsidy, we've saved it. Right? That means it's money not spent. It's not as if it's money there, money saved. It's money not spent. But if you now go again to borrow, then it truncates every other plan.
It's money not spent, but it is money that is...
that 1 trillion that you've saved.
It's a forecast. It's a projection that we are going to receive it.
No,
it's a forecast. The government did not say it's something that we already have in our treasury.
That's what I'm saying. It's money not saved. It's just money not spent. Do you understand? That we've saved 1 trillion naira means that you should have spent 1 trillion naira.
It is also money that's going to come in.
But what I'm saying, if you now go back to borrow, that money not saved or money not spent is depleted.
The first Friday of every month, the U.S. publishes their farmers' payroll, non-farmers' payroll, and they tell you the amount of jobs they've brought into the system every single month. If we are good at emulating and collecting monies from them, are those not better things to emulate? How much jobs are we bringing into the country every month? Hold on. Instead of looking for who to give handouts to, which I promise you, the poor will always be there. How do we get them out of poverty? By getting them productive. If you can't get them productive, then get the person that can work more productive to employ them. That is the way we get people out of poverty. Not handing out 25,000 naira. In the economy of today, what is he going to buy? At the end of 3 months, what does the person do? Let's take.
There's this perspective that when you don't look at it from this perspective, it completely blinds you to where this is taking us, to why the government has to do that.
Does it make us productive?
It is making us productive in one aspect.
You have to see. Does it make us productive?
Yes, it is. Completely.
How? How does it make us productive?
Okay, fine. If the government does that, does it in any way save that man from hunger? Does it in any way save that family? Yes, and it's significant as that amount appears. Does it in any way save that man? Does it in any way need that woman by the roadside to get 25,000 naira to go to Mile 12 International Market to buy a quarter bag of tomato and pepper, popularly called a tarudu, to start a little business? Does it enable that woman to do that? Does it enable that man to be able to buy his shoe-making appliances within that 25,000 naira to do a small box, get a brush, get a few brush, get a shoe shining tools to start what he thinks he can do to get a daily living with 25,000 naira. Does that shoe shiner, is he able to do that with 25,000 naira? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. These people, I don't even think, does it make the pure water seller who runs around with pure water in traffic to get few bags of pure water, provide himself a bath and go out working to sell bottled water and pure water to get a daily living? Does it make that man do that?
With this analogy you gave, I can assure you 99% of these people you talked about did not get that 25,000 naira. Want to say thank you very much to Mukhtar. I know you're still there, and it's been a very beautiful Monday. Thank you very much for being part of the program today. But I'll give you 30 seconds to round up your thoughts so that we can close for today. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Again, we need to, if we have not fully empowered the people that have potentials, we cannot say we want to take care of everybody socially. So we need to first empower the people that can fend for themselves. There are so many people that have ideas, that can do business, entrepreneurs. Let's put money into them, let them generate revenue. So then the little people that are left, we can say we want to leave them from poverty. But right now, we cannot just be giving free money, borrowing to give free money when we can invest in people that can create jobs and, be able to pay tax. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mukhtar. It's been a pleasure having you. For everyone out there, we really wanted to talk about Dangote Refinery. They are back and they are resumed gantry self-collection. That's from September 23rd, sorry. And remember, the free delivery still continues. So for everyone out there, Dangote is a free businessman, he's a private firm. So if you're angry with him, go to the court. If you don't want him to employ his tanker drivers, please go to the court. Let everybody do their business and let the nation grow. I want to say thank you to everyone out there for being part. Remember, go to the social media platforms. This conversation must not stop now. Let's continue there. Let's argue some more there. We want to read from you. So go to Souk Television, Souk News TV on all platforms. Follow us. Remember, share, and share again. Let's continue this conversation. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and it's been a pleasure having you here today. Priye?
Yeah, thank you, Chooks. Thanks, Olumide. Thanks to our viewers, and thanks to Mukhtar Aminu. I like your name, Mukhtar, right away. I'm Oyin Priye Krumale. Many thanks for watching.
It's been a pleasure staying with us. Many thanks to everyone. They say it takes a village to set up this whole thing. Many thanks to everyone who made this show possible. But the bigger thanks is to you watching. Make sure you comment, like, and share. Engage us. Give us something to talk about tomorrow on Souk Business Landscape. And if you have enjoyed it, join us tomorrow. I'm Olumide Shukoya.
Take pleasure because it's the mind that links to first of all the rebranding.
Said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigerian content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it's just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
You think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations start looking at getting their staff involved in this market and buying equipment for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn see something. This is Souk Business Landscape.